I'm going to introduce Derek. If you'll come up here.
Excellent.
I don't have a bio on you, so I just kind of went to your website, which is excellent, by the way. Oh my gosh. Go to his website. It's wonderful. You know, I just took off some stuff on that Cloud Us page.
Yeah.
Okay, so Derek began his journey during the pandemic in 2020 when he was furloughed from his corporate job in March of that year. He turned to gardening full time to pass the time and reconnect with memories of gardening alongside his grandparents. To attract bees to his garden, he discovered a book about native bees and quickly became fascinated by their roles in our gardens and the environment. As he sought native plants to draw these essential pollinators, he realized that finding such a diverse selection was a difficult project, wasn't it? Yes. I would say 20, that was 5 years ago, yes. Native plants have come a long way. Uh, Later that year, unfortunately, Derek lost his mother. She was an avid gardener and plant lover. And for him, tending to the garden was a way to stay connected to her memory. In 2021, after a significant freeze, he noticed that her friends and his neighbors' plants all died, but his were still living. So he offered to redesign their backyards using native plants. This initiative led to the founding of Native Gardeners in August of 2021, along with Angela. They are grateful for the opportunity to help restore native plants to the DFW landscapes, fostering healthy and thriving ecosystems. Native Gardeners is one of our premier nice nursery partners located in the Euless area. So I encourage you to check out their website. Welcome, Derek.
Guys. So tonight we are doing a fun little presentation on tea with native plants. So we'll be Angela here, who's one of our lead designers. She'll be leading the class this evening. She's put together a great presentation, and I will be making teas at this table. So be doing some taste testing tonight. Excellent. So I'm going to let Angela set up and take it away.
Hello. Righty. So, this is my first time giving a public speech like this. I'm a little nervous, just bear with me, okay? So you can click to the next page, please. So of course, everyone here can appreciate, the beauty of gardening with native plants. And like who else heard like, oh, you should eat local produce or, eat with the seasons, right? We've all heard that. But another fun way to connect with your gardens and, you know, connect with the environment that you found yourself in is to experiment with native plants and making teas with them. So I've definitely like this is a recent journey for me. I haven't known much about native plants for a long time. I'm relatively new, but once I figured it out, like once I was introduced to well native plants of it all, I was just really inspired by it. Just the fact that there's a whole society basically that of people that are just as passionate is really inspiring. So, um, as to why use native plants, it's just a form to connect better with, if you all love native plants, now you can enjoy them as well. So we'll start with, let's see, next slide, please. A quick disclaimer, of course, I'm no expert forager, uh, so I'll shamelessly admit that. But if you are interested in foraging, there's plenty of very reliable resources out there. So I just want to encourage anybody who's inspired to try using native plants for tea to really make sure that you do your research, because of course there are things that have lookalikes that are definitely not safe to ingest. And a lot of sources online will tell you that native plants have certain benefits. And while I think it's great to, explore those options as alternatives, you should definitely not, use native plants to replace any kind of medical advice. So always consult with a healthcare provider. Just make sure that you're being really safe and stay informed. Um, And then another thing was never over harvest an area. Of course, we're not the only ones who enjoy the native plants, so only take what you need when you are gathering them. So so here we have a brief overview of one of the many ways to prepare your leaves for enjoying tea. So I think the most convenient way, especially if you're impatient like me, I would want to collect them and enjoy them as soon as possible. So a great way to kind of speed up the drying process is drying them in your oven. And every leaf is a little bit different. Some are more tender, some take a little bit longer to roast. So you want to keep an eye out. But a good kind of safe period is, well, safe degree is 100 degrees. If you just want to start with that, just keep an eye on it. 100 degrees Fahrenheit will probably take a little bit longer when you're roasting your leaves. So if you, again, are impatient like me, you want to speed it up, you can crank it up to 325. I would not go any further than that unless you're really keeping an eye on it. Um, Otherwise, you'll burn them. But you'll also find that sometimes roasting and drying them is not necessary. With one of the plants that we brought, Copper Canyon Daisy, I found that I enjoy it most once it's fresh off the cutting. So sometimes it's not necessary. So I really encourage you guys to experiment. You'll find what you like the best through experimentation. Another nice way is if you're more patient, to tie them in a little bundle and hang them in a dry, sunny spot. And it'll depend on how dry your home is or wherever you've decided to hang them. Uh, if it's more humid, it might take a little bit longer, but if you dry them, it also adds a nice decorative flair to it as well. So I find that 5 days is probably the sweet point when you can kind of start using your leaves. So. So one of the samples that we brought to prepare for you is Self-Heal, Prunella vulgaris. Um, and I've included a kind of simple recipe here. It's just a tablespoon of the leaves. If you have the loose leaves, we have tea bags that have already been portioned out, and then 8 ounces of water. I find that the best way to get the full flavor is steeping it hot. Some of these you'll see that can be enjoyed cold, but with self heal, I feel like it's a really it's a really warming tea. It does have a rich history, and it's pretty much found across the northern hemisphere. So it is a native plant, but it's also found in Europe. It's found in Asia, which is really interesting. Um, but it was once said to cure all ailments, and you'll no doubt find online that there's a plethora of things that it's supposed to help with. Um, I am no expert, so I will not tell you that, but I again encourage you to look into it because I think it's really fun to see, in history what it's been used for, what it's currently used for. But the flavor is very comparable to black tea. It's very earthy flavor. So if you enjoy kind of those darker tastes, I think Self Heal is a great one. Um, and it is caffeine free. I'm not sure if we'll be serving them as we go.
Let me like the sample.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, if you'd like to sample, please head over to Derek. He'll give you a little taste test. And yeah.
Gross.
Um, with all the teas, I really encourage you also to kind of smell. Also sip. When you sip, take a little breath in, because that's kind of like inviting the sense of smell into the taste as well. Some things will be more fragrant than others, in terms of scent, but I think it really adds to, the mindfulness. You can really unwind with it by enjoying a nice sniff. Yes, so we're currently serving the self-heal tea, and then while we all get that, I will move on to the next one, please. So wild bergamot.
And we do sell self-do.
Oh yes.
Shade color ground cover. It's evergreen, so it will stay green all winter. And then you can see it's a really beautiful bloom. We have some growing in nursery.
for our online only viewers, Derek just jumped in and gave us some information. So self heal is actually it's one of the few ground covers that stayed evergreen at the nursery this past winter. And we had kind of a volatile winter transition into spring. So a lot of things were coming back, and then we got more drops in temperature, and many things were shocked and didn't make it. Of course, they're not as healthy in the pots, unfortunately. But yes,
Can it take any sun? Because you said mostly shade.
yes. Yeah, I think it's probably best if it gets a little bit of maybe afternoon shade. But in the nursery, we have it in pretty deep shade. And it kind of gets different light through the seasons. And the spot that we have it, it gets more sun in the winter time. And then it's further in shade in the hotter seasons. So um it's a hardy one. So I
If
think
it's in full sun in the summer, it will most likely, if it doesn't have water, similar to columbine, some of those other cool season perennials, it might go dormant, but it's done fantastic. It spreads really great. It's great around limestone pathways. If you're looking for like a low ground cover that's not too assertive, some of our ground covers can kind of end up taking over your entire garden, and I'd like the self heal, maintains itself really well.
right. Yes, so basically what Derek was sharing is that no, it's okay. What Derek was sharing is that if it gets too much sun and not enough water, it might pucker out a little bit. But so you just want to keep a closer eye on it. If you plant it in fuller sun than you do in shade. And then also we talked about water. But no,
Yeah,
what was
just
it?
saying that it really
Oh,
feels good.
yes, I remember. Sorry. It's a great ground cover. If you want something that you can kind of keep an eye on that won't immediately take over your garden, like, frog fruit or horse herb, which I also really love those. But, sometimes you want a more controlled spread. I think self heal is a great one for that. There's really cute little flowers too. So I really like it for a little cottage garden. Yeah. Yes.
Who's next? Is it the
Wild bergamot.
bergamot?
Yes, the pistilosa. So up next, we have wild bergamot or Monarda fistulosa. So this one, just have a quick whiff of it, it's very much resembles oregano. Um, but I found that once you steep it, although it still retains that oregano scent, the flavor is a little bit more refreshing. It's brighter, it has like a hint of spice at the end. And then this was after paying very close attention. I found that it kind of faded into a roasted, sort of woody flavor. Um, and this is my personal opinion, but I think that it would make a great pairing with lemonade or in like a strawberry combo. Um, and you'll see here that I have a recipe kind of for cold infusion. I think that would be my preferred method for the wild bergamot. This is one of those that you could definitely can enjoy it hot, but it's a great refresher for summer months, especially right now. You'll want to harvest the flowers at peak bloom time, which is definitely now for the Vistalosa. So um, I think what better way to enjoy it than, enjoy it with the season. Colder, more refreshing. It's caffeine free, so it's one that you can enjoy at any time of day to unwind. And yeah, do you want to share any? Oh, yes.
Can you use the flowers in the tea?
Yes, you can use the flowers. However, I've mostly seen it available for purchase, just the leaves. The next one.
It's a question for the Zoom.
Oh yes. So she asked if we can use the flowers for the tea as well. And I said that, you've mostly seen it in leaf. Thank you. I don't know where the camera is, but mostly I've seen the leaves dried. I've definitely seen other Monarda varieties where it flowers rather than the leaves. For example, the lemon mint, which we'll be going over as well. But yeah, I find that the flavors of the flowers versus the leaves, it still has the same fragrance, but it's just a little slightly different. Kind of astringent almost when you use the flowers versus the leaves. So I don't know if Derek has. Yes. Yes. He's got wild bergamot. Um, and for our Zoom attendees, unfortunately you don't have the tea to try, but if you want to picture it, it's kind of spicy. It's bright flavor. Um, I think it's a really refreshing one personally. Um,
Some people say it tastes like chai.
also, yes, I did.
It does smell like
Oh, yes.
China does.
Sorry. And of course, the wild bergamot. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the taller varieties of Monarda.
It's very tall.
Yes, it's a really stunner of a flower. I've only gotten to see it a few times in person, but it's a really showy flower.
It's a great year for it.
Yeah.
And a huge amount,
Yes.
so does Sandy.
Wow, that is true. We do have a lot of different Monardas growing at the nursery right now. So I think they'll, yes. Yes, so that's actually sorry. The question was asked if you can make tea with Monarda citriodora as well, and that's actually one of the ones that we brought to sample today as well. It's the next one on the PowerPoint, so I will go over that in a bit. Um, that one's a really beautiful one, I think. It's one of my personal favorite Monardas. Um, we're at a good point too.
So far, what do you guys think of this? Well, first, what did you guys? What did you think of the self field?
So Derek is asking how the audience likes the tea.
It tastes like chai a lot.
It does, right? So
We're getting a lot that it tastes like chai, which I agree with that. Yeah. It is a spicy sort of flavor. Yeah. So next
this
up,
is a lot brighter, right?
Yeah.
For this one. Excellent. So we'll let you guys sip on that for a second, and I'm going to.
he'll get started on the lemon mint, but Derek added that it's a little bit brighter of a flavor, which I definitely agree with that. So next up we have the lemon mint bee balm, the Monarda citridora. And this is one that I've seen most often, the flower heads dried rather than the leaves. I'm sure you can also use the leaves, but I've mostly have seen the flower heads. And I think with this one, the experience of drinking the tea, it's not only the scent you get from the lemon mint, the taste of course from the tea, but also since you have the flower petals kind of, they almost bloom in the water a little bit, and so I think it's a really nice experience as well to add that level of the visuals as well. um and this one I found that the flavor, while it is brighter and it has the citrus top notes, I found that after that kind of top note fades away, it's almost astringent, like it puckered my mouth a little bit. So definitely true to that Citradora name. Um, and I think that this one would actually be, when I tasted it first, I thought immediately it would pair well with like lavender, or like a lavender lemonade garnished with the lemon mint bee balm. I think that would be a really lovely experience. Again, it is caffeine free. But yeah, we have some of that sample for you as well.
A little behind, guys. Trash.
Yeah, sorry, I'm speaking a little fast. Um, but this one is definitely blooming the most, I think, the nursery. So this is a photo that I took yesterday actually, and it's one of the things that's popped up the most throughout spaces. And the bee balms that we planted, I think mostly the ones that we planted have remained in their spot. Since it's their first year, they're not going to spread very much, but um, the lemon mint I found has popped up in more places. It's really I'm getting some nods of agreement. It's a really great one. I mean, it's great for that pocket prairie look. It looks really beautiful with the black-eyed Susans. I'm sure you've all had that experience already, but if I'm not mistaken, it is on the shorter side compared to the other Monardas that we have. If I'm not mistaken, it has a slightly shorter bloom time, but I could be mixing up the Monardas, so don't quote me on that. But Derek is preparing that tea right now. You'll notice that I actually have a slightly shorter brewing time for this one. That's because after testing, longer brew times versus shorter ones, I found that the longer you brew, the more of that astringent aftertaste you get. Of course, if you like that, I would encourage you to please enjoy away. But for me personally, I like the citrusy flavor more. And this is actually one that's more deceptive when you're smelling it versus when you're tasting it, especially if you brew with the flowers. The flowers dried smell very true to what they smell like. When they're still planted, but the taste kind of it still has that citrusy, but it's not as sweet as the flower smell. So that's kind of you know, a fun experience as well. So yes, Eric's almost there. Um, this is another one. Oh, yes, you have a question.
Shelvings on your side.
So we do not sell the teas themselves, but we sell the plants. The Monardas have been selling quite quickly, but you'll find them. Um, we have a notify option where as soon as we get them in stock, you'll get alerted, so you can snatch them up and start tying your bundles and trying your leaves. Yes.
So for those of us that have never done this before,
Mhm.
okay, but I have the plant.
Right.
I think they're growing in my car right now.
Oh,
They're all
yeah.
So if we come out there, or are we gonna talk about that tonight, how you actually make?
So, what I was saying earlier about drying them out, but we get ours from Reverie Farm. And we can share this information to you guys for the bergamot teas.
Yes.
The self-heal, we actually found on Amazon. And so, but the Yohan tea that we'll be serving last, we do sell. And it's a local company. This one's called Berganalis. It's called Tap Spring Yohan. It's based in Texas, and she makes some really beautiful Yohan teas that we'll be going over later. She makes a really beautiful kind of chai version of this. It has apple and cinnamon. It's really great fall. But we'll definitely make some of this. This is a really good one that's served iced tea. You want to make sun tea. This is a really great one. We will be serving at one tonight. But I believe that this is steeped enough. You guys want to come try the lemon bergamot? We're ready.
So for the Zoom attendees, the questions were if we sell the tea on our websites, the teas that we're demonstrating, and for those of you who have the plants, how do you go about making the tea? And so we do not sell the teas. We've got the bergamots or the monardas from Reverie Farm, and we can share that information at the end. And Derek shared that the self-heal tea we actually got off of Amazon. And self-heal you'll find is very readily available because it's been widely used throughout history, especially in Chinese medicine. A lot of the sources that I found were actually like ancient Chinese medicine for self-heal. So I think that's really interesting. But yeah. And oh yes.
It's such an evolved thinking, right? And the ingredients are interesting.
I would say if you oh sorry, the question sorry. The question was if other bee balm varieties in the same species, Monarda, are also safe to make into tea. And I I want to say yes, but I would encourage you to look up which ones are safe. I don't think I came across any that are toxic, but I don't know, unfortunately, off the top of my head, which other ones are. Oh, Monarda didima, that's a scarlet bee balm, I believe. Um, I did I did read about that one. Um, and that has a lot of uses in indigenous practices. So that one is safe to turn into tea. It's been turned into tea historically, but unfortunately, I did not include that one here. I don't have the samples to give out, but yeah, I think I want to say a lot of them should be. And actually, when doing the research for this, I found that a lot more plants are edible than not, um, native plants. So, um, it's a little bit of a like a newer topic, I guess, on the internet. So it's a little harder to find information. But if you're really interested, I know that there's a lot of good sources that, talk about ones that are, maybe not, they don't immediately stand out as things that you are like, oh, I want to try to make that as a tea. But you'll find that they actually have great benefits. So, um, long story short, I know that there are other varieties of Monarda that you can turn into tea for sure. But please be safe and do your research.
Definitely don't use Datura.
Um, Derek just said, definitely do not use Datura
No.
unless you want to.
All right.
Those are very scary experiences. The next one is Yelpon. Yes, next one is Yelpon. Oh, to finish answering the other question, which was how do you make the teas if you have the plants at home already? Um, I would say for lemon mint, you want to collect the flower heads just before their peak bloom in order to get the, most flavor out of them. So once you start seeing them bud, I think it's a good time to start taking cuttings and drying them. Um, this one, I would encourage you, again, if you have the patience to do the bundle method and dry it. I think it has more visual impact that way as well. But of course, you can roast them if you want to enjoy right away. Um, Now, on to Yaubanamali. So this one, Ilex vomitoria, that name is a little bit deceptive. It will not cause you to vomit. There are conflicting stories on why this Latin name came to be, or rather, not conflicting, but varying accounts. I read one source said that um, I believe at the time the British were, exploring the land. Uh, they were making quite a bit of a profit off of their own tea imports, and Yaupon holly was quite the rage because it was it's the only naturally occurring source of caffeine on North America. So in order to kind of shuffle that industry away. They gave it the deceptive Lex Vomitoria name. There are also other sources that say it was used in indigenous rituals. Um, and in order to begin the ritual, you have to cleanse your body first. And so the people involved in the rituals would um, kind of and yes, they would purge, but they'd first ingest pints and pints of Alex vomitoria, and so that would then induce vomiting. But I think if you're just a regular tea enjoyer, one cup will not do that to you, two cups won't, three, maybe we're getting a little crazy here. No, I'm kidding. I think you have to drink a lot of the tea in order to induce purging. Um, which it can be very beautiful in itself, actually. I'm not totally against it, but definitely do your research, of course. But Yaupon holly is one that's more readily available due to its, caffeine. Um, I myself am guilty of being a caffeine addict, and so I like to go back and forth between coffee, matcha. We have the Yaupon tea at the office, and it's a really great one when I didn't prepare my caffeine in advance. So now the thing about the Yaupon holly is that it actually has 30% less caffeine than coffee, and not only that, don't quote me on the science of this, but it has a compound called theobromine or theobromine, which kind of helps the caffeine enter your body a little bit slower so that you're not likely to get jittery from it, whereas coffee doesn't have that. So Galpon Holly is a great one if you need a quick pick me up, but you don't want to get that kind of jittery, like heart racing feeling from coffee. this is a good one to reach for. And this one is described as having a like a smooth, brighter flavor. I want to say it's very comparable to green tea. Again, maybe because of the caffeine content. Um, but the company that we get our Yaupon Holly tea from actually has many different delicious flavors, including some that are really great around Christmas time, like winter specific flavors. So I would encourage everyone to look into that because the company I think is based here out of Dallas, but definitely Texas. Um, it's Cat Springs, right? Yeah, Cat Springs.
Good question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you toast the leaves before you use them?
Yes. So, Yelp. Oh, sorry. The question was, do you toast the leaves before you use them? And yes, um, this is one of those that I don't think that you would get much flavor out of it if you were to skip the roasting process. And it's also a tougher leaf, so it will require a higher roasting point. But it's hard to get it wrong when it comes to roasting these. You're if you see the photo on the presentation, you're looking for sorry, a pretty dark brown color. So that's how you know when it's ready to enjoy. Um, yeah, it's a little difficult to mess up that
Do
roasting
you
process.
roast it in like a skillet or in the oven?
So I haven't. The question was, do you roast it in the skillet or in the oven? I think I haven't tried roasting it in the skillet. Um, I think that's definitely worth trying though. That's a really good method. I think I might try that next. But the oven method is more so because the roast is more even. Or is this sounding okay?
Sounds like
Okay. The roast is more even on the in the oven, so you're not getting more toast on one end than the other, or like no one piece is getting burnt, whereas others are not. So just for an even flavor.
Did you mention the temperature?
Oh, so this one I think you're probably safe on the higher end. I would not exceed 325, though I've seen sources say that you can go up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit with Yelp one. If you're brave enough to do so, just keep an eye on it. Um, yeah. And I think this one has a slightly longer, maybe on the 30-minute end at 400 or 325. Um, and I believe Derek is brewing that.
Just order.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
I missed it, but he poured it for everyone. He's getting the hang of it. Now that's the end of the presentation. So the next slide is just some really helpful resources that I found. Forager Chef, that was a really great one. He has a great article on how to collect the wild bergamot and different methods of using it. I only discussed tea here, but you can use it for cooking as well. And a lot of really good sources on the science behind what self-heal might have to offer. I didn't want to give any medical advice, of course, but um, I think that there's a lot of interesting sources. And then I also wanted to mention I have some honorable mentions for plants that I like to use. And we brought some for sale as well. We have a limited stock, unfortunately, but these two are plants that we stock frequently. So the first one is my personal all-time favorite. It's Copper Canyon Daisy. And it's actually not my favorite because of tea making. That's a recent one of my coworkers, Wesley, he told me that he just took a leaf off of or not a leaf, a sprig of Copper Canyon Daisy and put it in some hot water, and it was really great. And I was like, wow, this is amazing because it's my favorite. Because the foliage is so fragrant. It's a fall bloomer, but I think its appeal is year round. Um, I at least 5 times a day, I step out of the office at the nursery to go ruffle the leaves a little bit, the foliage, and smell it, and that just feel like resets me. I love this one, and so my method of brewing it, I tried recently, was in hot water. And this is one, again, that I haven't had the patience yet to try roasting it, but it was really great just fresh off of the sprig. And something that's always not upset me, but for lack of a better word, is that when I go outside and I want to smell the plant, I'm like, I want to bring this inside with me. So I try to take a sprig to bring it in the office with me and smell it. But as soon as I cut that cutting, the fragrance is gone. But I found that when I steeped it in hot water, the fragrance was back immediately and 10 times. Because with the foliage, you have to ruffle it and the scent stays on your hands. But with the tea, you're able to, if you brew enough of it, I feel like the vapor kind of carries the scent through the room. So it's another one that adds that like scent layer to the tea drinking experience. Now, the tea itself doesn't taste as much like it smells. It's a very lemony, citrusy scent, very sweet. It's not citrusy when you're tasting it, but it's more floral. And I don't, are we going to be brewing some of that? Yes, it's really, I love it. It's
This
really
is one of
great.
our main sellers, so the
Yeah.
plant itself gets anywhere from 2 feet to 4 feet. In deep shade, it still grows, but it stays much smaller. We put it in some deep shade yards, so it kind of acts as more of a low growing. It'll be the last thing that blooms in your garden. So it blooms in November. So it just lights up with these really beautiful yellow blooms.
Yes.
And then right before the first freeze, comes back every year. Like I said, it's fragrant all year. It's got a beautiful foliage. And it's kind of a nice addition to your garden for some fall, almost winter color.
Yes. So for our Zoom attendees, oh, okay, great. Yeah, it's a very showy display of flowers. So the whole thing gets very full. Yes.
Did you ever make goldenrod tea?
I have not experimented with it yet, but I did come across a lot of sources saying that that is one that you can use for tea. Yes. Oh, the question was if we've ever used goldenrod with tea. I am rather new on my tea journey, so so I have not unfortunately had much time to experiment. Derek, have you ever?
I know I haven't.
No? Yeah, I'd be interested in trying it for sure. Yeah. Um,
How long did you steep the copper candy?
I think it was just it wasn't one that I worried about the flavor getting bitter. I steeped it for quite some time and yeah. Oh no, you can probably drink it now, but I let it steep for a longer time. Yeah, actually I would let it steep a little bit longer. It's a really light it's a really light flavor. Oh, I think it might also be comparable to rose water, where you can use it to spray on things. Again, the copper canyon scent is not as strong in the tea itself, but um, yeah, I think that's just my hypothesis right now.
You might have
Yes,
already
ma'am.
answered this, but was that foliage or flowers too, when the flowers stop?
So it's the foliage that I've tried. It hasn't bloomed yet, since I've been trying to make teas, so I wouldn't know yet. But yeah.
I'm sure you can with the flower.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Um,
No part of it is talking.
yes, no part of it is toxic. And that's the Latin name is Tagetes. I'm not great at the names, but Tagetes lemony. It's a great name, very fitting. And then the other honorable mention is Mexican mint marigold. And I actually had somebody tell me before the meeting started that she grew up drinking using Mexican mint marigold um, for tea making as well. It's one that I am guilty of overlooking it in the nursery, but I recently had a fixation on it and I was like, let me try making a tea with it. And it was really like standout flavor. I love that one. That one is not as deceptive with the scent versus flavor. It smells like licorice. It's got a little hint of spice and it also tastes just like that. So I didn't get to steep it for very long before I wanted to drink it. But the flavor was already there. I'm sure if you steeped it for longer, you'd get a more robust flavor. But I really liked the brightness and the lightness of it. I will say that Mexican mint marigold, when I was trying it, I thought it lent itself more to like autumnal flavors. So I think you can definitely enjoy it refreshingly in the summer, but I think it's a really great one for the colder months too. And I think that one I would say I liked it best warm versus cold. I enjoyed it hot as well. So that's a more warming tea. And we also have that.
Does it taste like licorice?
Yes.
Cause I know
Yes.
the plant does whenever.
Yes. Yes, it's the question was, does it taste like licorice? And yes, it does.
Black licorice.
Yes, black licorice. I was gonna say it doesn't taste like the artificial licorice candies. It's a more true taste. It's a really good one. I hope you guys like it.
We'll let this steep a little bit.
What's the full-size height of the Copper Canyon?
Okay, 2 to 4 feet. 2 to 4 feet. Yeah,
Yes.
it's considered a shrub. It's a
Yes,
Are they assertive? Like, do they spread?
They do not.
not spread.
No.
Yes. So the questions were
Very similar.
Yes, it can spread aggressively depending on the site.
okay. So the question was what's the full size of the Copper Canyon daisy? It's 2 to 4 feet. Technically a shrub. And the other question was, can it spread? In my experience, it hasn't, but I have not been gardening for very long. And then we did have someone in the audience say that it can, depending on the conditions. And I can definitely agree with that because I've even seen some um, that are up to 6 feet tall when technically they're supposed to be 4 feet. So those were really happy. So I think it depends, like all plants, it depends on their conditions, how happy they are.
And I'm a tea aficionado. I been drinking tea. I went through a phase where I tried to drink coffee for a while. And black tea can sometimes be a little bland. So I do like to take a lot of my herbal teas, and since I do want to I'll mix the two together. So the copper candy would actually be really nice if you wanted to infuse it with the yolk. So that you're getting a little bit more less flavor, and you just want a hint of that copper canyon. Since again, it's not a big, very strong tea. That'd be a nice way to kind of add an essence with it. And
Yes.
similar to any of these, actually, since they're free. We also have agastache or hummingbird mint.
Oh, yes.
Is another one.
Nice.
So we have Blue Fortune, Tutti Frutti, and those also have a similar kind of anise smell, like licorice. And those would be really nice. They're in the mint family. Those can also be used for cooking and also making teas. So
Considers the holly on considerable as far compared as far as caffeine goes.
the matcha.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. I think it's very similar. I think
Sorry, was the
Go
question
ahead.
about matcha?
I was just saying the similarity between the caffeine. Do they have a similar caffeine?
I think it has a little bit less than matcha. I love matcha. And if I drink 1 cup of matcha, I'd probably say 2 or 1.5 cups of the Yaupon holly for the same effects. Um, uh, I also feel like both of them deliver the caffeine equally smooth. So if you like the way that matcha makes you feel when you drink it for caffeine, I think you'll like the Yaupon holly as well. Mhm.
Oh, and they said, they are having a little trouble hearing what he said.
Oh, do you want to come up and repeat?
Like.
Okay, so what he was talking about is other notable plants to use for tea, which would be the agastaches. They're part of the mint family. They're also called hyssopes or hummingbird mints. We have quite a few varieties. And I would say all those varieties are very attractive to the pollinators. There are some cultivars that not so much like the coneflower cultivars. I feel like you're not going to get many pollinators on those, unfortunately. But the hummingbird mints, definitely all the ones I've seen, the different colors, they're very attractive to the pollinators. And I've also seen that you can use it for cooking. It's part of the mint family, so it's more likely to spread. But we have those available year round. Unfortunately, we didn't bring any to sample, but if any of you have it, I would do your research and encourage you to try it as well.
We had to leave something for you to come and get.
Yes, we do have it right now at the nursery, so please give us a visit. There's lots to see.
This is the Copper Canyon. So these are
Like so they're having the Copper Canyon Daisy tea currently.
we're not guaranteeing that it's good.
I loved it.
What I was saying to him, we got this in here, saying your black teas.
Oh, yes.
Flavor.
Oh, okay. Well, Derek was also mentioning he's a tea aficionado in his own words, and he likes to, blend the herbal teas with, black teas to get more of an essence. And yeah, and caffeine. So if you don't want to sacrifice your caffeine, maybe try pairing some, especially with the Yalpon holly tea. I think the Yalpon really lends itself to other flavors. It's great standalone, but like I said, the Cat Springs, where we get it from, they have a lot of great flavors, and it's still the essence of the Yalpon, but it really pairs great with a lot of things. It's just a bright, like, pretty, it's a knockout flavor.
What do you think so far?
Good.
Smell really good.
We're hearing it smells great, tastes great. Yeah. When I take a sip, I really like to take the fragrance in too through my mouth and kind of get that like scent as well. Oh, I love this one. I can't express it. It's a really great one. But yeah, that's all the presentation I have for you. I can take any other questions.
Have you tried Passiflora or not?
No, I have not.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Especially
oh, really?
basic, nature enzymes.
Wow. So, the question was if I've tried Passiflora incarnata. I have not even had the pleasure of seeing it in person. I've only seen photos of it, and it looks really beautiful. Yes, the Maypop. Yeah,
Makes great tea.
yes.
Very relaxing.
Oh, okay. I might need that. I've been having trouble sleeping lately.
It's a great
Caffeine. Okay, I'll look into it. I think I've seen it in stores, actually.
I
Maybe
just
like
pick the leaves and dry them and
I should try them. I should try growing some.
Flavor.
Yes. Well, any other questions? I'm not sure how long of a time slot I have here, but I'll take any other questions.
Anything else we can answer for you?
Yes. Other questions? Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was nervous. Really eased my mind, so I felt safe working. Yeah.